Hi everyone, thanks for joining this webinar. So my name is Sam and I'm the Customer Success Manager here at StoryChief. It's my job to onboard customers, help them out with their questions, etc. So with this webinar, it's kind of focused for publishers. So whether you are a traditional publisher or someone who just publishes articles online, this webinar is definitely for you. So make sure to stick around until the end. I'll be giving you a demo of StoryChief, how you can use it, how it will help you not only collaborate multi-channel, but also how to collaborate with your team and lots more. So over half the world's population is now on the internet and they're all reading and consuming content. How do you get your stories or articles or videos seen by the masses? It's a problem that is well known to teams that publish content, and with a huge amount of platforms, audiences are all over the place. But luckily, StoryChief can help you, not only with publishing multi-channel, but by also giving you a central hub where you can easily write, collaborate, and track performance. It lets you be in control of the whole process. And as mentioned, during this webinar, I'll be showing you all some features that are really tailored for publishing teams. So how about we now get started and have a look in StoryChief. So bear with me a moment while I share my screen here. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Now you should be able to see my screen. Let me know if you can't. Also, if I sound too quiet, also just let me know via the chat. So as mentioned, here we are in StoryChief. This is our dashboard, so we can see all of our stories, whether they're still being written or been published. We can check out reports, lots of cool stuff in here. But first, let's start by creating a story. So whenever we want to do that, we just click on Craft a Story, and we're sent straight over to our editor. Okay, and here we are. So now if you're used to editors like WordPress, this is probably quite similar to you. It's very much a blank canvas where you can just start writing. What I'm going to do for this webinar is take some content from our own blog. And this blog post was kind of the inspiration for this webinar. It's about publishers and the challenges that they face. So let me just, while I'm here, also enter the address of that blog post, and you can check it out afterwards because it's very relevant, I think, if you're watching this. Okay, so here we are. So what I want to do now is just copy the title in straight into our editor just to save on time. I'm going to add some text as well. Okay, so here we have a title, some text. So yeah, probably very familiar to you by now if you're already publishing online. But you may be wondering, how do we make that more dynamic? How do we make it more interactive for our users? Well, we can do that by adding content from YouTube, from Twitter, lots of different sources. And we do that just by hitting enter. So by going to a new line. And then we see this media bar appear. And from here we have many options. So as mentioned, social media things, so from tweets, Instagram posts. You can add images, of course, videos, lead capture forms, Google Maps, lots of cool stuff. First, probably the most important thing I find are images. We always need images in our blog posts. So let's pick one here. So I have one here on my computer already ready to go. Here we go. So yeah, just choose it from your computer, upload it. Alternatively, you can search for one. Let me just quickly show that. So again, click add image, and we can search for something. See here. So publishers, go then search for something. And then normally there are more options in this, but this is quite a specific term. You can choose an image, and it'll be added directly into that story. So again, very easy. Let's add some more text in to pad it out a bit. And let's next try a tweet. So again, we press enter. We see again that media embedder bar appear. And this time we choose the rich media option. And now how do we do this in StoryChief? Well, it's very simple again. We just get some content that we want to add. So in this case, a tweet. And here we have it open in my browser. And we have the address of that specific piece of content. And all I have to do is copy it, paste it in, and press enter, and it's added directly into our story. So that's how we kind of create a story. This one is very basic. It's very short, but that's how we can start to formulate that into our story. Again, if there are any questions during the webinar, our chat is open. You are more than free to let me know. So yeah, that's how we create a very basic story. But if you are working in a content team, you're more than likely to have many different writers, many different editors, and you need to collaborate with them. Well, luckily, StoryChief is the ideal solution for that, because you can add as many users as you wish to your own account, and then you can start inviting people into stories. So let's show you how you do that. So near the top of your editor, we have this invite button. And in this demo, this test account, I already have some users set up. They're all dead writers, so not very useful when it comes to writing, but here we have William Shakespeare. I'm going to add him. You can also add multiple if you wish. So now he is added. He has now received an email from StoryChief telling him that Sam needs your help writing a story. He can then jump in. He can collaborate. He can help us write it. There are a few more options here. We can also request approval. So you can imagine if you're writing a story, but you want a colleague, perhaps an editor, to check it out before actually publishing, you can do that with this. And very similar to how we invite somebody, we just click on the request approval button, we choose somebody, we click add, and then again, they get an email alerting them of that fact. They can then jump in, check it out, approve it, decline it, whatever they want to do. They can also leave a comment if they wish. And just with like how we invited people, we can also add multiple if we wish. And then you see here in the sidebar the status of that. So who's approved it, who's declined it, etc. Okay, there's one more collaboration feature I want to demo today, and that is the ability to leave comments. And how do we do that? First, we select a section of text like this, and then we click on the chat icon, and then we can leave a message for somebody. So I can say, maybe for myself even, I can say, need to check this. So that's now a comment I just left in the story that anybody can see. Alternatively, I can tag somebody in a section of text. So again, just select a section, click on that chat bubble icon, and then I can tag somebody. So just like you do on Twitter or other social platforms, just click the @ symbol. You can then pick somebody in your account, such as Jane Austen in my account, and then I can say, I can leave a comment for that person. I can say, this part is not clear. Can you change it? Oops, can't type very well today. Can you change it? Press enter. And again, very similar to when we invited somebody or asked for approval, that person's now received an email from us, also saying what section of text is highlighted, and they can jump in, check it out for themselves and make a change. And then once it's actually been changed and it's all good, they can then resolve it, and then it'll be crossed through, and now I know, that person knows, everybody knows that is now solved. That's okay. All right, so that's how we can collaborate in our editor. Once again, if there is anything you don't find clear or you want more info on, we do have time, so you can feel more than free to just leave me a message in the chat and I can get back to you. Okay, so that is how we collaborate in StoryChief. What I want to next look at is how we can start to publish our story. But I think there are still a few little steps we should look at first. So a huge part of writing nowadays is making something that is also very SEO friendly. So good for search engines, to be able to try to give your story the most exposure that is possible. And we can do that by opening our menu here and choosing the SEO optimizer. And here we can add a keyword to what is our story about. If you've been following this webinar, it's probably quite clear that it's about publishers. So let's add that, publishers. And now our SEO tool knows what our story is about, and it can start to give us specific hints and tips on what we can change to improve our SEO score. So we can see here a few things. We do not have a meta description, so we can remify that by pressing on edit. We can then add one in. This is a meta description. That'll do for now. And then once that's been fulfilled, our score will go up. It will start giving us some different things to check out. And then once we've fulfilled a lot of these, our score will go up to 100%. And then you are aware that your story has a much higher chance of being noticed and seen on search engines. Okay, there's one small other feature I want to show you, and that is the editorial brief, which should also be hopefully quite relevant to you if you are a publisher, especially if you're working in a large team. So from here, you can, after you've created your story, you can create a brief on what it should be about. So yeah, a working title, then you can start to fill in what is the message, what is the audience. Again, this is just our guidelines for you. You are more than free to just remove this and add your own details. Afterwards, you can add your files, you can add a word count. Then you can also assign it to a colleague. So you don't necessarily have to write it yourself. You can just create a story, create an editorial brief, assign it to somebody, and then they can start writing it for you. Okay, so now we have this story created. We've made it SEO friendly. We've done all the steps that we needed to do. Now we can start to publish it. So all this time we were in the writing tab. We can now move over to the summary tab. We can start to fill in details like a summary, a cover image. We can change who the author is. We can add categories, tags. Yeah, a lot of the kind of nitty-gritty kind of stuff that goes behind your story. Afterwards, we can move on over to the audience tab. And this is where the multi-channel aspect of StoryChief comes into action. We can select which of our channels we want to publish to. And in this test account, we have some already set up. But once you've created your account, you can add your own channels, your own platforms, your own social media accounts. And as you can see, they're all grouped here by category. So we have personal websites, such as the free blog that you get from us, but also things such as WordPress, as Drupal, Webflow. Then we have content hubs, things like RSS and Medium. Social networks, Twitter, Facebook, Slack, lots of things like that. Referral marketing, what is that? That is a way to create a list of colleagues, of friends, perhaps even readers, who you can then, once you've published a story, they will receive an email with the summary of that story, and one of two options: either an option to download the story themselves, which is very helpful if you are working with, say press, who may want to add your add your story to their own publication, be it online or offline. A second option is called ambassadors. So these are more like colleagues. So they receive not only a summary of the story with a link to it, but also these sharing buttons that you see here. Because we will be sharing our story to our own accounts right now, but by using this referral marketing, we can hopefully encourage others also to share. And the best way of doing that is just by making it super easy for them. And that's how we do that with these buttons and this referral marketing. Okay, scrolling down now, we have email marketing, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, etc. Then we have mobile channels, Google AMP, you can see is set up here, but we also have Facebook Instant Articles also as an option. All right, so if I scroll back up now, what I can do is I can also customize if I wish. So let's say on this Twitter profile, I want to leave a message as well. I can say, learn all about publishers. So we can customize that message for that channel. One feature for our Pro and Enterprise plans is the ability to also fully customize. So a custom image, a custom title and description can really super tailor it for that particular audience. So that's also very interesting. Okay, now going back up, I can also deactivate if I wish. So I don't want to publish to here or there. This one also not. So you can also say if you work with multiple brands, just connect all your brands to StoryChief, and then when you publish a story, you can choose which ones you actually want to publish to. All right, so let's now choose my primary channel. Now your primary channel, that shows Google and other search engines the main source of that story, and that avoids having any duplicate content issues with that article. Okay, so now we're ready to publish. We see I'm publishing to 14 different channels here. Now I can click on confirm. And as you see here, that story that we just created is being sent out to all of those channels simultaneously. So you don't need to then worry about copy and pasting anything to other platforms. Just create it all in StoryChief, connect all your channels, publish, and it's all done for you. Okay, we've got one left to go at the bottom here. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, let me know via the chat. Afterwards, if you want to reach out to us, you can. So you can do that at hey@storychief.io or via our chat here if you wish as well. Both are very good, viable options. And as you see here now, our story is published. And now we can choose to view it if we wish. As we see here, there we go. Our story is now live, and we see everything is added here. Our images, that tweet is also there. So again, just as we created it. But I think for now, what we can do is we can go back to our StoryChief dashboard, where we can look at a few more features that we have. Okay, so not only is StoryChief about creating content and collaborating, it's also about being able to analyze performance, seeing what perhaps needed improving on, what channels need more work. And we can do that first off by looking at reports. So if I scroll down here, I can see my recent stories, and this is the story that we just published. But if we look at maybe a different one, this one here from a couple of hours ago, we can check out a report, and we can see how well it did. So here's our combined stats: how many views, reads, and total impressions. If you're wondering what do each of these mean, well, views are people who have come across your story, but they've only seen the summary, so the short description. You can think of that as being on Twitter or other social media platforms where the entire story cannot be read. Whereas a read is the opposite of that, is a platform where someone has actually been able to read pardon me, the entire story. And then impressions are a combination of both of these together. So that's a total number of people who have come across a story in some way. And then if you use lead capture forms in your story, that will also be shown here. So how many people have actually entered their details. And if we scroll down a bit further, we can see also a breakdown per channel, how many people have come across it on this one or that one, also by day. So it's all presented here very, very simply and nicely. And also we can see per channel, how many views, how many reads. So we can see here on Twitter, as I mentioned, Twitter can only see the summary, so as a view. So we only see here how many views, whereas on our WordPress and our blog, the entire thing is shown, so we see the reads. Okay, so that's how our reports work. Let's now head on back to our dashboard. I still have a few things to show you while we have time. So you may be wondering, how do you connect your channels? A lot of the time this is a one-time kind of deal, but I just want to show you roughly how you do it, so you don't think, oh, it's too complicated, I won't be able to do it. We do make it as simple as possible. And the vast majority of channels, all they're required to do is to log in to that platform, say Twitter, authenticate, just by saying, yes, I agree to StoryChief managing my account, being able to publish. and then it's good to go. WordPress, there are a few more steps, but we do provide a detailed guide to help you through that. And if there are any questions, you are more than free to reach out to us and we can help you out. Okay, so let's head on back again to our dashboard. So a few more things I want to just glance over. The first one being campaigns. And these two features are really tailored, really useful if you are managing a large team, because they really are helpful in a way of managing content, of being able to see what's going on. So first off, we're in campaigns now, and campaigns allow you to group multiple stories together. Pardon me. It's hay fever season, so it's starting up again. So campaigns allow you to group multiple stories. So you can imagine if you are creating multiple stories about a certain theme or topic. Say perhaps a new book has come out and you want to create multiple stories about it, or something else entirely different. You can create a campaign. We can then add some different stories to it. So here we can pick some stories. So add some here. And then we can create that campaign, and then we can assign users to it. So let me just quickly show you a campaign that I've already created. So here we have one here. And the great thing about this is that it will show you all of the users who are writing or creating in this campaign. It will show you what's been published, what's still being worked on. And then it will show you also see the progress bar here. So you see what has been finished. You can also add a deadline. And then once everything has been published out, you can see the stats. So you can see the total stats for the entire campaign. You can also, if you scroll down, you'll see a list of every story and how well each individual story did, and also the ability to view a report directly from here. So very useful. You also see a calendar-based view of this campaign. So let's just go back a month. Excuse me. And here you see a calendar view of what's going on in that campaign. Also filtered by user, by platform, by status. Very useful if you want to keep track. Lastly, we have the content calendar. And with this, you can also a very useful way of getting an overview of everything happening in StoryChief. So you have this calendar view, where you can, very similar to the campaign calendar, but on a more global scale. So every single thing happening in your StoryChief account, all of the stories, and again, you can filter by user, by campaign, if it's in a campaign, also by type of channel that's being published to, and also by status. And what's really cool is that you can also create brand new stories directly from here. So you can imagine if you are an editor or manager, someone who doesn't need to write a lot, what you can actually do is just hop straight into the content calendar. You can then pick a date and time. You can then create a brand new story. You could even assign it to someone directly from here. And then it'll be added directly both to your calendar and also to your stories list. And the person that you invited or asked to write it will then receive an email, and then they can jump in and start writing straight away. Okay, so that's how we collaborate more in StoryChief, and that's how our campaigns and our content calendar work. One small thing I just forgot: you can also sync to your own personal calendar. Excuse me. So of course you can keep track in StoryChief, but say you're out and about, you aren't in the office, you sync it to your own personal calendar app, then it'll stay in sync, and you'll always be up to date, and you can see what's going on at what time. Okay, so that's how those two features work. They are both very useful if, as mentioned, you are in a large team. It's definitely two features definitely worth checking out. I think I am running out of time here, but we have a few minutes if you want to ask a few questions. We have 3 minutes left, so while you're thinking maybe some questions, let me just show you some other features. So earlier I embedded a tweet into our story. You may be thinking, what other possibilities there are? Let me just show you what we have. So in our integrations list, we see all of our lead capture integrations. So the ability to embed a form into a story, and then once a reader fills it in, it'll be sent, their details will be sent either via email like this one, or to say team leader, MailChimp, HubSpot, whatever platform you choose here. We also have a content calendar, which we just saw, ability to sync your calendar to your own calendar application. We have workflow automation, which is Zapier, so you can connect StoryChief with 1,000 or so more apps. Say, yeah, you create a brand new StoryChief story when you create an email, for example. Yeah, lots of different options. And then again, all of our editor embeds. So again, like tweets, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, audio options such as Spotify, forms from Typeform, Google Maps, content from Issue, HubSpot call to actions. Lots of options here. Pardon me. And if there is something that you use but you do not see in this list, you can always reach out to us and we can see about adding it for you. Okay, so I think I am very much out of time here. If you have any questions, if you have any questions about pricing, about creating an account, make sure to send an email to hey@storychief.io. So that's hey@storychief.io. Let me just paste it here in the chat to make sure you aren't thinking I'm saying hi@storychief.io. So hey@storychief.io. There we go. So yeah, make sure to do that if you have any questions. If you want to talk about pricing, if you maybe want to book a demo with one of my colleagues, we can do that as well. Just send us off an email and we can arrange that for you. Every 2 weeks, we host different webinars, all talking about different themes. So hopefully I'll see you again for one of those in the future. I think you probably have already seen our webinar page, but here it is. So in 2 weeks, we're talking about how to create a better content with StoryChief, more dynamic content with different integrations. So if that sounds interesting for you, definitely sign up. Yeah, okay, I think that's everything. Apologies for my cough. I'm not sure why that started to happen, but that's that. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for sticking around to the very end. It's much appreciated. It's always great to be able to show you all how StoryChief works. And yeah, again, hope to see you again in a different webinar very soon. Okay, bye everybody.